Thank you all for joining us for our second Lunch and Learn of this month. I'm really excited to have Jim Musa, our Coordinator of Asset Management and our Records Management Liaison Officer. He is also an essential member of the Workday Implementation Project Team. He's been overseeing the business asset tracking process, and that's what he's come to demonstrate a little bit more of the Workday functionality for us today. So just because I have a question in the chat, this session is being recorded. We did record last week's session. We posted it to our YouTube site, and you can access it through our Osprey Rising webpage. So I can make sure everybody has that link. We are doing another session next Thursday with Ashley Parnell from accounting, who will be talking about journal transfers and payroll accounting and kind of they're more in that field for her, and I can send that summary as well to everybody. But I will also be watching the chat and the Q&A for any questions that come up. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jim. We are going to look at kind of how you do this process today in Banner and what it's going to look like in Workday. So we'll be going through registering assets, assigning assets, the checkout process, the disposal process, who initiates those requests, where those requests route to, some of the required approval functionality on that. So it's going to be a really great kind of overall view of how business asset tracking will work in Workday. Please keep in mind that there will be a more formal training once that launches, but I'm excited to see this overview today and give you a little bit more insight into that process. So Jim, I'll go ahead and turn it over.
Thank you, Megan. Good afternoon, everyone. So this Lunch and Learn session is just a demo. It's in testing, so it's not live yet. So I just wanted to kind of go over everything to let y'all know how it's going to look once we go live. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with everyone. And the first thing I want to do is I want to show you the difference between our current process of Banner and what it's going to look like in Workday. So let me go ahead and share my screen with y'all. Let me know if you could see this. Are we good? Okay, great.
Yes.
So when we receive an asset through central receiving, this is the current process. When assets are received at central receiving, and we normally wait until the invoice is paid before we register the asset in Banner. Starting July 1st, we're only going to be registering capital assets. In other words, assets that have an acquisition cost of $5,000 or greater. We're also going to be registering appliances, which is food equipment, less than $5,000. So those are the only two categories that will go into Workday. Computer technology, beginning July 1st, laptops, iPads, so on and so on, will be handled by ServiceNow, which is IT. So IT is taking that process over. So the only thing we're going to be doing in business assets is we're going to just register capital assets that are greater than $5,000 and appliances, which is food equipment, less than $5,000. So the way so our current process is when we want to register an asset, let's say the invoice is paid and we're ready to put the asset in. So we normally go under this Banner job called FFA-MAST. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. I don't know what it does this for. Okay. So we currently have T tags for new items that arrive on campus. It's a number that starts with a T, and it's got 3 zeros after that, and then it's got a bunch of numbers. So we enter the T tag over here, and then we click, and then we leave this as convert to permanent tag. The permanent tag would be the asset tag that we assign the asset to. So this could be a 5-digit number. It'll be 3 zeros and then 5 digits. So this is the current process that we're doing now. And then it involves multiple steps. We have to go to the next screen. We have to put the make and model, the serial number, and then the following screen, we put the location, the custodian, the org number, and so on and so on. Okay, and then so this is our current process right now. The new process, which I'm going to share my screen in Workday, is going to look like this. This is going to be a cleaner process here. Okay, so I'm very excited about this new process in Workday. When I first started going into Workday, I was very hesitant about it. I wasn't too sure about it, but then I looked at it, and over numerous amount of testing that I've done, I got very comfortable with it. And so this is going to be the way to go here. Okay, this is really nice. So the way this is going to work now is accounts payable will receive an invoice such as this up here. And then it gets routed to business assets, which is myself and Jean. And then we have to review it. Okay. So before payment is made to the vendor, we have to review it. So we have to look at it. We say, okay, well, it's over $5,000. It is a depreciable capital asset. And it's going to be trackable. So once we review everything, then we click approve. And that kicks off the registration process on our end. It's time for us to register the asset. And I'll give you an example right now. So I'm going to click approve. Okay. And here it is. This will allow us to put in the asset tag number, the asset name, the asset description, the serial number, the manufacturer, the cost center, which would be the department. So I'm going to just use an example, controller. Okay, there. And then over here, you just type in the location. I'm going to put my office location, and then you look for the actual building number. There it is. Okay, and then the key would also be controller. And then right there. So once you click in the key, then everything else will actually populate for us. So this is a much easier process. Okay, and then once everything is completed, we submit it. And then it goes to the business asset accountant. They review it. And then once they approve it, then we can issue it to a worker. Even though we're going to be issuing it to a custodian or a worker now, we also have to do a second step of reissuing it to the same employee. So this process is much more efficient than Banner. Banner had multiple screens, so this is going to be a lot easier for everybody here. Assigning the assets, I've already discussed that. Once this has been approved by business asset accountant, then we'll have to assign the asset to the person. Okay, so a lot of the other features is we're going to be able to find an asset. So if I want to look for an asset, you just click on find, and you have to type in the University of North Florida, and then you type in the spin category, which is the department, and then you just open it, click OK, and then it pulls a whole list of assets for you. So this is a lot easier to work with. Some of the processes are going to be changing, like the online checkout form, the online survey form, all that is going away. Okay, so you will no longer be doing the forms anymore. Everything's going to be through Workday. The way we have it set up now is the cost center financial specialist, who is the office manager or the requester for the equipment. They will be processing the checkout form process. Okay, so what you do is you go in here and then you type in create request. Here it is. And then it gives you the option. Okay, you click all, and then it gives you the business asset checkout, the business asset disposal. So when you do the business asset checkout, you click OK, and then all these fields need to be completed. It gives you the date the item was checked out. It gives you the date that you could put in when it should be returned, the asset tag number, and you just completely fill out all these forms, all these fields, and then you click submit. And then once you click submit, it goes to the cost center manager, which is your director, your chair, whoever the cost center manager is for your department. They will need to approve it. And once they approve it, that's the end of the process. The item is checked out to that person. Okay. The disposal process is a little different. So you would have to go back to create request. I'm just showing you all this. Later on, I'll be having a campus-wide session for everybody. That's where everything will be live, and then I could, type in some examples for everybody. Okay, and you go where it says business asset disposal, and you click OK. And here's all the fields here. The cost, now we limited this to the following folks: to dispose of a capital asset, okay, which is a $5,000 or more asset. The cost center financial specialist will only have access to this, okay? And then once you complete this and you click submit, it goes to the cost center manager, which is your supervisor. It could be the chair, the director of the department. Once they approve it, then I'll get a notification, and my coworker will get a notification. We have to go manually into Workday to dispose of the asset. Okay, so the online survey form, the online checkout form will no longer be available after July 1st. Everything is going this route here. And like I said, this is just a demo. This is a test. We've been doing a lot of testing. And like I said, probably September, 1st of October, I'll be holding a property workshop for campus. And that's where I could actually plug in some information here, and I could show you exactly how to do this. But this is kind of like a demo of how it's going to look here. Now, departments are only allowed to dispose of non-technology assets, okay? So any technology asset will no longer be handled by the department. It'll be handled by your IT partner, which is your tech over your area there. So if you are in the administration and finance area, then your C-Tech will actually handle this, okay? Even if the non-technology item is over $5,000, any technology disposal will be handled by IT, okay? Departments are only allowed to dispose of non-technology assets. Are there any questions regarding what I've gone over so far? Okay, Megan, that's the end of my presentation.
Okay, well, I know we have a good number of people on here, so I know there's a lot of interest in this. Does anybody need us to kind of go back and revisit any of the Workday screens that we've gone through, or any questions that we can address now? even unrelated to business assets while we have everybody here?
Jim, this is Clay from ITS. I have a quick question. So I know that you mentioned that there's capital assets. So is there a difference between capital assets that are over $5,000 and IT assets that we would be tracking versus ServiceNow? Example, we have line cards that might go for $9,000 that go into a server, or we might have a switch that's $50,000. So would those still fall under capital assets, or would they go into a different tracking system?
As long as it's over $5,000, it'll go under the capital assets.
Okay,
Anything under $5,000 will go into ServiceNow. In other words, all computers and laptops and so on and so on.
got it. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Hey, Jim, there's a question in the chat. Is the description of the asset supposed to be from a report?
The description of the asset can be like, in other words, if it's a centrifuge model number 1030, then you just type in that description. Centrifuge 1030. That's the make and model of it. Now, you could go into find assets. Let me get out of this here. Now, what you could do is, once the load of all capital assets are in Workday, because they're taking everything that's in Banner right now, and they're loading all the capital assets into Workday, okay? So if you're looking for a particular asset and you want to see what the information is here, you just go in here and you click on Find Assets, and then you go where it says Asset Identifier, and that's the number. And there's normally 3 zeros before the asset tag number. Okay. I'm just typing in something. Hopefully this is an asset here. Well, it's not, but anyway, let me take another look. 078 let's see. Yeah, okay. So this is the description of it right here. So what you do is you go under asset ID and you click on that. And then it gives you a description of the asset. It's a Dell server. Of course, there's going to be more information in here because this was just a test that we did here. And then it gives you all the information here. It gives you the asset tag number, the serial number. These are just mock serial numbers, so they're not actually real, okay? And the custodian would be Debbie Dudge, and the location was 1108, building number 15, 1108. So yes, you could both do it both ways here. It will not automatically populate where it says description of asset. You would actually manually type it in. Hope that answers your question.
I have another one that asks if there'll be a limit on how many assets can go into one disposal form. It sounds like the current property survey form has a limit of 10 assets per form.
It does, yes. So let's take a look here. I'll be honest with you, I never tried this, but where it says asset identifier, asset tag required, I would have to do a test on it to type in numerous numbers here and see what happens after that. But for now, as far as I could tell, you're only supposed to do just one number at a time here. But I will test this, and I mean, that is a very good question. I will test this and I will have an answer for everybody by our next session here.
Thank you. And
You're
then, will departments or units have the option to go through current assets to make sure they are up to date?
before July 1st, send me a request, an email, asking me to send you a listing of all your assets for your department. I will still have access to it where I can go into the property file and I could pull all university assets and I could sort it out by org number, location, custodian, however you want me to do it. And I can go ahead and send that to you. These assets will, this report sooner or later will be going away. So I could still access it until July 1st. After July 1st, I will not be able to do it any longer. Okay, now these are just, I mean, right now we are still entering, we are still registering computers, non-technology assets, non-technology over $5,000. We're still registering all computers into Banner. But once July 1st hits, I will no longer have access to that report. So if you need something now, email us and we'll be more than happy to give you that report.
Okay, and then from the Q&A, for an old tablet or iPad, less than $5,000 without a barcode, would that be disposed of by IT?
Without a barcode, and if it's under $5,000, then what IT normally does now, because there are some of the older tablets and older computers out there from years ago that they find and they were never tagged. They're just really old. What the current process is now is IT no longer wipes computers. Everything comes to our area here. Our certified recycling vendor picks everything up and he takes it to his warehouse, and that's where he wipes everything. On occasion, if he can't wipe it, he destroys the hard drives. And then he sends me a listing of all the serial numbers of all the computers and hard drives that's been processed. So computers are no longer wiped because it's a time-consuming process. So everything is brought to surplus, and then I take it from there. And then at the end of the pickup and after the recycling vendor wipes everything, he destroys the hard drives, whatever the case may be, I always get a certificate of destruction. That's kind of a guarantee and insurance that everything has been taken care of.
Jim, is there anything units need to do, like in reviewing assets or anything like that prior to go live that hasn't been addressed here? I know you offered to send people a report of what's currently assigned, but you don't need to take people to take any additional steps.
Not at this time, no, but the most important thing right now is to request a listing of all your assets. Now, some of the technology assets that are under your department, they may be under the IT org, okay? They might not be under your own department org, okay? Because these are the currency computers. So the best thing to do, in addition to your org number, is to try to send me a list of room locations that are in your building. This way I could pull 100% a more accurate report for you, okay? Because there might be some locations where they may have a computer, but it's under the IT org, okay? And it's assigned to one of your staff. So if you would send me the locations in addition to your org number, that would be a big help for you.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I'll just remind everybody, I put the link to other event announcements in the chat, as well as the direct link to our video section on the webpage where you can see last week's recording. So we will post this recording and also send you the information most likely tomorrow by the time we get that edited and uploaded. If you have any other questions for us that come to you later on in the day as you're thinking through this, please reach out to me, reach out to Jim. We're both happy to help. Thank you all for attending. Thanks for spending your lunchtime with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. That
You're
was great.
welcome, Megan. Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
All right.